And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
Good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday. I'm Rich Rosso here with Jonathan McCarty, CFP, and a whole bunch of alphabet soup.
I just want as many designations as you have, Rich.
You know, the one thing as advisors, and they're not every advisor is like this, but I think most they are lifelong learners, aren't they?
I would agree.
There is never enough that you can know or want to learn. And it doesn't even just include finance. It's more than finance. Except for what they're talking about on the chat this morning on how to kill bees and termites. Larry is also exterminator. It's really good. Larry, I got some extermination terms and conditions that I need to discuss with you. So does this include humans? What else we got going on? So we've had a really good 2 weeks in the market. Just when Lance says curb your enthusiasm, the market does the exact opposite. But I still think the message holds true. I still think the message is that we are in this state of euphoria, golden day in America. The sun is rising. The ants are dying. The termites are running off. The rats are freezing in New York. I mean, there's so many good things happening right now, right? Because when rats are frozen, they don't reproduce or they're cold. And that's great for New York.
That is good for New York.
Which is mostly being overrun by rats.
Cuts down the hot dog supply.
When you go for one of those dirty dogs, watch for anything floating in the water. Mm-hmm. There was a rat doing a backstroke. So the one thing I've noticed about this presidential term with Trump versus the last is the reaction of markets to what he says. So when he was pressing Powell yesterday on rates, you know, he was knocking Powell out like Apollo Creed. I kept punching. And Powell just kept standing up and taking it. First, you know, you would think the bond market would have more reaction to that. So I was watching bond yields, and they didn't pretty much move. In other words, I think markets finally understand, you know, the puffery and the push, and it doesn't relate to policy, right? I think that's a good thing.
And I think Jerome Powell, out of anyone, is not concerned with what President Trump is asking for. You know, before Trump took office, he was interviewed asking if Trump had asked him to step down, would you do so? And it was a stone-faced one-word answer, and he said no, and moved to the next question. Right.
So we'll see. Also, there was this turbocharging of the crypto industry, national stockpile of crypto, whatever crypto that is going to be. I think when the president and Melania issue meme coins, that sort of minimizes the impact of what you're trying to do, right? You got to understand there's a marketing element to crypto. I can argue it's all marketing, right? And a risk appetite. But the point is, you got to remember where crypto fits, right? So this is going to be strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology. So blockchain networks, develop and deploy software, participate in mining, all these things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, by the way. I just think, again, it's not a medium of exchange.
Right.
You know, I think, I may be wrong, but I think like Bitcoin might be up, the markets were up, 3% this year or so?
Yeah, I mean, it's up over 100,000. I think 106 last I saw it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't do that. So the endorsement, I understand. I think what he should be endorsing as opposed to the actual crypto is the technology that is used. The blockchain that there are a lot of great books on blockchain and possibly what it could be used for. But as far as crypto, or given that relevance, just in my opinion, as it being a speculative asset that I can't value, I think he's appealing to a group. But I think you got to look at what he says, and then you got to look at the ethos, right? You got to look at what does he really mean, and it's really just this whole technology, because he's been big on infrastructure and building out the grid. So maybe there's some great technology and innovations that come out of that.
Yeah.
But now you're going to see all the crypto mavens, right? All the custodians, they're all flipping out. Oh my God, a sea change in U.S. digital policy. They're all loving that. So if you own Bitcoin, you're probably doing, you love this kind of thing.
You're pretty happy.
You're pretty happy.
But I would agree, Rich. That the technology is really what would be beneficial. And I remember talking about this last year when I was on the show. NFTs were a big thing, and then they kind of petered out. But the benefit of the NFT technology, which also uses blockchain, is that you can have a digitally verifiable document. So imagine if you could have a digitally verifiable online copy of your driver's license or of your passport. And then you can go and transact online as if it's verified that it's you. So imagine never having to go to DPS or DMV, depending on what state you're in, ever again.
And John Molino on chat brings up something good. There is also Hashgraph that's also making strides. That's also a ledger technology. So that ledger technology, I think, is absolutely here to stay.
Yeah.
The coins will interchange, although Bitcoin's the big daddy, right?
Big time.
You're not going to do much to move away from that. All this other stuff that pops up, you have to remember is for marketing purposes, and you might get a pop in like a meme coin that Trump does, but please, again, this is lottery ticket stuff, and I don't mind getting a lottery ticket once in a while. I always say the best deal is a scratch off.
I wanted to buy the Haktua coin, but my wife said absolutely not.
It's a good thing you didn't.
That's a pretty good thing I didn't.
That went down.
As always, she was right again. I love you, honey.
Yep. Mrs. McCarty, we're afraid of you too. You're right again. But it's right. And I would say, and here's the thing is, I think women are less emotional investors than men. And I think that they look at what crypto for what it is. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I say for $2, you go to a gas station and you get a scratch off. Most advisors will tell you that's terrible. What a waste of money. But there's something about when you're doing it and you're dreaming about all the things you create such a world in your head. The endorphins are flowing.
Big time.
How much is a movie?
Nowadays, $25, not including snacks.
$2 for a ticket, man. I can create my own movie in my head and maybe win a couple of bucks. So that's just my thought. I think Brent has something to say about that. He's been playing the lot. I can tell he's playing the lottery, but he's not winning because he's here this morning.
No, I don't.
He's not playing the lottery.
It's the gateway gamble.
Well, listen, there is something to be said about speculation money.
Yep.
And how you separate it from your serious money, whether you go to Las Vegas and you play but people know where to place it. With crypto, the lines are blurred. They don't really know where to place it, right? They think of it as, well, it's legitimized because it has ETFs and all of this. But remember, it's still a speculative sleeve within your asset allocation. I had a client that wanted to buy one of the Bitcoin ETFs, and I said, that's fine. I said, but let's put rules. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
He understands the speculation. He put 3.5%. That's not going to hurt him, but he feels like he's participating. I don't think there's anything wrong.
I would agree.
Okay. But keep in mind, the IRS wants their taxes on it, and it is taxed at ordinary income rates because it is considered a collectible, like anything else that you would sell. There's no long-term capital gain for that. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the evil IRS and what they're doing. And maybe Larry can give us some ideas on, I don't know, more
pest control?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
RIA Advisors Research is the envy of the industry. Our economic insights are featured on advisorperspectives.com, Fox Business, and MarketWatch. RIA provides advisors with marketing and back office support, objective research, and holistic, cutting-edge financial planning tools to meet your clients' needs. Want to join a winning team and be part of a fiduciary culture where you can do your best work? Then why haven't you contacted us yet? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors. Big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning? At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. realinvestmentadvice.com.
In 1999, a parafiduciary group of financial advisors were busted by corporate giants for trying to operate in their clients' best interest. These men promptly escaped from a high-cost margin environment to the Houston Energy Corridor. Today, still excoriated by their former employers, they survive as protectors of others' fortunes. If you have a problem about preserving capital, if no one else can help, and you can find them right here, maybe you should hire the RIA team.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So yesterday, I have one of the things we try to recommend for people that are entering retirement is downsizing. Nothing wrong with downsizing. Although I do have some clients that will actually increase the square footage of their homes as they retire because they have this dream house they never had. Now they want it and they feel the kids are going to come over and they won't. But it's okay, right? If it fits into the plan, it's all good. But I have a client that sold furniture she's had probably for about 25 years. Like, it's old enough to be vintage, and it's clean enough and almost brand new enough to make you feel like you're in sort of a time capsule. So she goes, oh, yeah, Rich, I sold some of this. Sold some of the stuff. She goes, I made like about $15,000. And then I read this article about, I wonder what happened to all this IRS cracking down on online sales and stuff like that. And here it is. Unreported income from online sales, right? So technically she put it in Facebook Marketplace, although I thought that was sort of dangerous. I said, you better have your son there with you because there's a lot of weird stuff that I see on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
But between that and next door, she did manage to sell it. The threshold of $5,000 in online sale is going to generate a 1099-K tax form. And if you don't report it, you're going to face penalties. So any personal items that you're selling, so anyone who earned more than $5,000, tickets, musical instruments, other goods, are going to get this, most likely get a 1099-K this month. Now, the one thing I wonder about, say with this client, I said, listen, I'm not telling you to avoid the IRS, but I'm just wondering how the heck.
How do they know?
On Facebook Marketplace that you sold this stuff for cash? I mean, it's your garage sale. And what the hell is your cost basis? Do you even know?
Right.
She goes, of course I don't know what I paid for this. Then I got to figure out, okay, how many times throughout the decades did you have the stuff clean, right? You had people coming in. What's the cost basis on this? So I'm hoping we're not going to that level, but it did remind me of this overall. But if you have an online platform, say you're selling StubHub, you're on Etsy, eBay stores, right? If you earn $20,000 or more, that's when the forms were generated. So it's going to be a nightmare for some of these online vendors and these online stores. So you can have millions more taxpayers that are going to have to account for this income.
Yeah.
right? And that threshold was supposed to be dropped, from what I recall, to $600. But, you know, it was just to try to capture. It was just funny, I think, is when Biden was saying we don't want to, if you work in gig jobs and all that, you know, we don't want to tax you. But meanwhile, these are the people you're going to hit, right?
Yeah.
But then it was all this confusion, and I think Etsy and eBay and some of the other vendors were like, how are we going to deal with this? But now it's phased in, so now it's going to be here. So what are your thoughts, Jonathan, on this?
You know, I think Gam Gam better start keeping better track of her knitted doilies that she's selling.
Grandma, on those quilts, man.
I agree with you, Rich. I mean, how are they going to legitimately track this kind of information and enforce this, especially when you consider that the IRS is already underfunded? You know, they just announced a $20 billion cut to funding for the IRS, and they're going to go after, you know, the small-time mom and pops that are just trying to make an extra buck on the side. You know, kids out mowing lawns in the summer are now going to be subject to this.
Yeah, I mean, so there's this example of Sandra Everett. She's an agent in Chester, Virginia, has been selling novelty tax gifts as a 1995 mug that says, "I can't, it's tax season," on eBay for nearly a decade. And Virginia, where she is, imposes this $600 threshold. So Everett sales are nearly $1,000 in 2024. For selling these mugs, she's going to get a 1099-K.
Seems like a waste of effort.
You know, it absolutely does to me. And here's a guy. He's a certified public accountant. He's selling off dozens of items a year from his basement of stuff in the family's accumulated. 165 items that he's shipped off. And now he's also going to get hit with this. Or everybody's in fear of an audit because I sold my CB radio, which I would never do, from 1975.
What's your call sign, Rich?
Smokey and the Bandit. Used to be Midnight Rambler. I used to be a big Rolling Stones fan when I was a kid. But I'm just saying that this is a problem.
Yeah.
I don't see. I understand if you're making $300,000, $400,000, you're going to get a 1099-K anyway.
Yeah.
And if I have a real legitimate business, it's not grandma and grandpa selling doilies and stuff in their garage.
Yeah, and what I thought was...
you've got to really understand and add some common sense to this.
Yeah, and we were talking before the show, and what I found interesting is that the first topic that they listed in that article was selling tickets, which, as I was telling Rich before the show started, when I was in college, that was a common occurrence amongst people that I knew, and some of them did very well. And this is a situation where there's really no way to track, you know, what they're actually earning. And now they're going to put the onus on places like Ticketmaster or StubHub to be tracking these individual purchasers and whether or not they're reselling these tickets and how much the profit is going to be. I mean, this is going to drive up costs for business across the board.
Well, it's like the dude in his basement. Like, he's got generations of family stuff. Now I'm going to come up with a cost basis. And now are you going to tell me, how does the IRS legitimize that cost basis?
Yeah, show us your calculations.
I mean, you're going to do the best you can, but it does seem ridiculous. And I still say, how are people really going to know? I mean, I understand if it's big money stuff, right? And if you're selling off parents stuff that they've died, there is a step up in value, right? So you do have some things like that. But what's the value to begin with?
Right.
I think we need a deduction, a new deduction on our taxes, giving us a credit or a deduction for the time spent putting our tax returns together every year.
You wouldn't be paying any taxes.
I know.
Making it above the line, too.
I fully support that.
Yeah.
For the number of hours that get put in and the money that goes into how much time you spent or how much money you spend.
I'm just
putting
saying.
together this ridiculous tax code.
Yeah, my hourly rate's pretty high.
Huh?
My hourly rate is pretty high.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't afford me.
If you have to ask.
The IRS agents, they're ready to audit Brent after this comment today. He's all done.
Good luck.
Rob Williams says tariffs on lemonade. These lemons, I'm putting a tariff of 10%. I just think, again, it's really ridiculous. eBay stores and all these established businesses. I get some stuff through in a few established stores on Etsy. Some stuff my girlfriend likes. That's fine. They have a really nice business. I am sure they're filling out tax forms for it.
Yep.
Right? They've got an LLC or they've done all the right things. But this other stuff, like selling family heirlooms that have been in my basement, it's absolutely stupid.
It's impossible to track as well.
Well, if I am going through Facebook Marketplace and I am going to sell something that's more than $5,000, I mean, now is Facebook Marketplace going to figure out, oh, all those people selling their automobiles, right?
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't. I don't know if they run or not.
Might not even be their automobile.
Do you know the cost basis of the dude you stole it from? How about that catalytic converter? What's the cost basis?
Magically appear.
For me, 0.
Is it for the whole car or just for parts?
You'd have to do it like Johnny Cash, one piece at a time. You come in under the radar for under 5,000, and then you wind up put the car together. You should listen to that song, Johnson, before your time. But it's a good Johnny Cash. But it just says that, you do want to start looking at, it is the time of year where you do want to start getting your tax forms together, looking at things that you might need to do, right? What kind of contributions are you going to make to your FSA? Did you overfund it, right? Your health savings account. Are you maxing that out? And also, are you not touching it and using after-tax dollars? So even though this is ridiculous, what's not ridiculous is actually going through and doing some tax planning right now.
Yep.
Because it's already starting. All the 1099 int forms and all this stuff is coming in, right? So then you got to really fine-tune some of your benefits. So the people, I have a lot of clients that will put too much money in FSAs, and then they have to scramble to utilize her. Because remember, right, flexible spending accounts, you do have a deadline. May not be the end of the year, it may be part of the following year, but you still have to use that money.
Yep.
So I'm a big fan of more underfunding those than overfunding those, because I wind up scurrying around trying to figure out how many Band-Aids do I really need. Health savings accounts, absolutely, you max those out, right?
Yes.
You got a family, you make your family contribution. What's that, over 9? What is it this year?
Just over 8,000.
8,000 bucks, right? And you don't touch it. You allocate it, and then you use or pay your expenses from an after-tax account and let that grow for you over time. And if it's used for qualified expenses, it's triple tax-free when you do use it. So that's really, some of the things that you want to look at.
Yeah, one of the great things about the HSA account, you can use a portion of that account to pay premiums for something like long-term care.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a table, but you got to be,
right.
but you absolutely can do that.
Yep.
You could use it for Medicare Part B.
Yep.
Although I don't understand why you can't use it for Medigap. I never really understood that, since it is health insurance,
right.
But you can't. But most importantly, again, it is a way for you to look at lowering taxes in retirement. And believe it or not, most people do not fall into the lowest tax bracket overall. So just a thought, man. If you're going to get one of these new 1099s, let us know how it goes. We'll share your pain. We'll put it on the chat room. That'll teach you. A lot of pain there. We get back. We got more to discuss. Stay tuned.
Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Are you a financial advisor sneaking peeks at our stuff? Instead of trying to do it all yourself, why not just join the team at RIA Advisors? Our full-service organization can provide you with the support, unparalleled research, and tools for managing your clients' money and honoring the fiduciary pledge of putting clients' best interest first. Don't take our word for it. Talk to the advisors that work with us. Want to come win with us? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors, big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
If you're working and looking to retire soon, a Medicare special enrollment period is in your future. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA Advisors online resources and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that is right for your lifestyle and budget and avoid gaps in coverage. Click on the insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
So how many Gen Zers to take change the light bulb? 5. According to a new study conducted by the motoring and cycling retailer Halfords, 1 out of 5 could not change a light bulb.
The Real Investment Show podcast.
1 in 5 feared that the light bulb was too hot to touch.
Same show, your schedule.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, 20% said that going up a 5-step ladder was simply too dangerous.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
We have failed as parents.
Oh, Red, I declare, I plumb missed that candy coffee. Whatever am I gonna do?
Don't you worry, little darling. We'll watch it again on our YouTube channel.
Why, Red, I never.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all of our past presentations, from Candid Coffee and Lunch and Learn to special topic discussions, and all of our live show recordings preserved for you. Subscribe now to the Real Investment Show YouTube channel or look for the link on our website at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA Advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access. Now with the new and improved Before the Bell reports, Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, plus each day's radio shows, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
And welcome back. So, just to let you know, we're going to have a lot of really cool events coming up. We'll have our first Candid Coffee. Can't guarantee it, but we're scheduled for February 8th. With Mr. Roberts. He'll be pretty grumpy, but that's just how the Roberts rolls. We love him that way. He's our loving curmudgeon. So hope you'd stay tuned. It's sort of Lance's State of the Union. Some of the things we are seeing for this year, probably a lot based on his Curb Your Enthusiasm article, because I do think it's so easy. I don't know how, Jonathan, you probably feel about it too, but it is easy to get sort of pulled into the animal spirits, the euphoria of things. Like,
of course.
Oh, heck, man, this market is keep going up. Everything I buy goes up. This is great. Makes you overconfident.
Yep.
You feel good. I think as advisors, at least tenured advisors, we step back from that and understand that we have a lot of gratitude for it, but we also know it's fleeting.
Correct.
So, and we just know maybe the Fed doesn't have the same artillery to do certain things if the economy is growing. Like, I understand lowering rates when there really is no recession in sight and credit conditions are fine. To me, you want to keep those arrows close for when you absolutely need them.
Correct.
But we're going to see more pressure for Mr. Powell and global leaders to lower rates overall. So, one of the things that we talk about is always making good decisions. taking the emotion out of the decisions. And sometimes it's tough because it's our money. We're emotional. If I buy something, anything you buy, I don't care how much research you do, it's a leap of faith.
It is.
Any stock you buy, anything you buy that you hope goes up in value is really a leap of faith. Even to you gold bugs. Gold does not always go up. I could absolutely buy gold and lose money. I have clients who have done that. Yeah, it's not going to zero.
Right.
But don't tell me I can't lose. If I want to buy it on Monday and then sell it 2 weeks from now, I might lose money.
I've got a client who still complains about Barrick Gold every time we speak.
Oh, you don't?
Oh, yes.
He's got that. He's got that gold bug he can't squash because it's squashing him.
Yep.
So what does he?
He's down about 50%.
Wow. But he's not down to zero.
He's not. No. And you know, there's still definitely a chance he could come back up. Mm-hmm. Just a matter of time.
When you buy it, you gotta. I always, the gold ads. They're always funny, only because they talk about come to our seminar because we're going to talk about diversifying your assets with gold. And what about your emergency savings account in gold? I mean, what are you going to talk to me about?
Right. Also, we get paid when you buy gold.
Yeah. Again, I never have a problem with anybody who wants to own anything. I mean, and I have people coming to me for the last 30 years with crazy stuff. I'm like, listen, anything is a market. Anything you want to buy is available. Just understand what your pros and cons, risks and rewards. Don't romanticize this thing, whatever you're going to do. And I say the same thing for crypto.
Yeah, set your risk parameters. You know, have a target and make sure that there's no data coming out that's going to challenge your current thesis. If you do get that new data, don't be so caught up in where you think things are going to go that you're going to ignore data that's pertinent to that decision.
In the U.S., you can own people.
Again?
Yeah. Is that back? Where's that? Oh, I don't know about that. Again, the chat is the best part. One day we should just put the chat on the radio. We could use electronic voices, or you can be Jonathan. You'll be JP. I'll be Larry.
I can do
I
that.
gotta come up with my Larry voice.
Had the chance to meet JP over the last weekend.
Yeah, it was nice
guy.
to meet him at the summit. JP.
Fun to put faces with the names.
Yeah, really nice to meet. Actually, meet a few of the chatters. They didn't look like Ed Gein. They looked normal. I think Ed's busy this morning. He's not on the chat. He must got a job. Yeah. Taking care of him. So one of the decisions that tends to be very emotional is Social Security and when to take it. And frankly, I blame media for part of that with the headline fodder. Better take Social Security. It's going broke. And all the other crap that you see out there. And you got to be careful on any article that is clickbait, right?
Yes.
And I have to admit, I click on these articles and I read them because I want to see how they're going to make their story. They say in about 1,000 words, which you probably can do in 30. Is so much bloviating in these articles that are headline fodder. It's mostly fluff and you got to cut through it before you get to actually what is the meaning of what you're trying to tell me here. What's the heart of it? So, yes, there will be a Candid Coffee on Social Security. We will have one of those just talking about Medicare and Social Security. What I'm waiting for, TS, on our chat is this whole thing about Social Security taxation and where it's going to go. Because I have a lot of clients that are hopeful that Social Security benefits won't be taxed. I just don't see it. I don't see that kind of stress on the trust fund. And actually, it's going to pretty much benefit people that still want their Social Security and they need it, but it's not as dire or detrimental to people that really spend the majority of their budget and their spending is Social Security. So I just, unless it's means tested to some degree, I don't see it happening.
No.
Overall, do you?
Well, especially with the elimination of the WEP and
I
the
think
GPO.
that was the one that went through.
Yeah.
We're talking about, if you have a non-covered pension and Social Security, say you were a teacher for a while or a firefighter and you also paid in, there was this integration formula that we had to do. I had a whole slew of documents. I went through Michelle through the shelves yesterday and we had so many brochures on the web.
Oh, yeah.
And the GPO, and they're just garbage now.
I spent way too much time learning those formulas, and now they're completely useless.
But you learned something,
Hey.
and you never know.
They could come back. Yep.
This stuff is not dead, man. This is zombie stuff. I'm sorry, but when it comes to Social Security, this stuff can all be unearthed before you know it.
Right.
But the one thing you have to keep in mind is you've got to make good decisions. You've got to make good decisions. Now, listen, if you're single and you're a max pay-in and you're still working, and you're in good health, you might decide that you're going to wait to age 70 because I really don't need the money. I'm still working. I have clients that are, they've paid in the max. They know pretty much they're going to get close to, I figure out they're probably going to get close to $5,000 a month, right? At 70, they're going to probably definitely slow, 71, 72, they're going to slow it down. But for now, they're just holding off because their health is good. They have no spouse to consider. And then I have people on the other side where they're 62 or they're about to be 62 and they're just not doing very well.
Right.
And they're not planning to work. So therefore, let's take it, right? So there is an emotional, personal element, but it's based on also longevity risk and your need for cash flow, frankly. But when you bring a spouse into the mix, it does change things up, doesn't it?
Significantly, yes. Yep.
Now, if you're both high wage earners, no big deal. But I would say 70% of the time, there's a higher wage earner and one who didn't max out.
Yes.
And generally speaking, it tends to be the woman who had stayed home and now is going back to work. But she, I have clients who have gotten divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And we pull their Social Security statement and I got all those zeros because they stayed home. But what was amazing, I have one client in particular that I'm thinking about. She got divorced about 7 years ago, and we look at her Social Security statement. It was like $800 a month then. And I said, listen, we got to start filling in some of these zeros. She went back to work, and she's moved up and all that. And now it's closer to $1,900 a month. So she made a big difference by filling in those zeros.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, until you fully retire, even after you've started claiming Social Security, if you're continuing to work and you're a high earner, you can actually see your benefits increase as long as you claimed at 67 or later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the most important thing, and there was a study done that said that most men will make a Social Security decision without consulting their spouse.
I don't do anything without consulting my spouse. She basically tells me
I don't think
what
you
pants to
really
wear.
do anything.
Yeah.
You might be a little bit far on the pendulum there. I know Mrs. McCarty who's wearing the pants, the family. Listen, I totally get it. So my girlfriend won a pretty big award, a DuPont award in New York. And everybody's congratulating her. And I said, yeah, I said, but she's an investigative reporter and she scares me. And I think that's possibly what makes a marriage work.
Yeah. A healthy element of fear.
There's a healthy element of fear of your partner, especially when the man is totally, deathly afraid. Especially when I get that investigator reporter eye. And I know I'm going to be getting hit with questions.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I tell all my friends, I wear the pants in my household as soon as my wife tells me which pair.
Yeah. Not the corduroys today, Jonathan. They go, whoop, 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 whoop. We don't want that. I totally agree. So you don't want to make a Social Security decision without Mrs. McCarty knowing what you're doing.
Correct.
But how many men, especially old school Gen Zs and some Gen Xers, they're going to do it. And we're going to talk about it on the other side of the break. Ed Gein, come back. Clean your hands and get on the chat. Take off those gloves.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
RIA Advisors Research is the envy of the industry. Our economic insights are featured on advisorperspectives.com, Fox Business, and MarketWatch. RIA provides advisors with marketing and back office support, objective research, and holistic, cutting-edge financial planning tools to meet your clients' needs. Want to join a winning team and be part of a fiduciary culture where you can do your best work? Then why haven't you contacted us yet? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors. Big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Will you be turning 65 in 2025? Happy birthday! But there's a Medicare special enrollment period in your future. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA Advisors, online resources, and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that is right for your lifestyle and budget and avoid those gaps in coverage. Click on the Insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube page has all of our videos ready for your easy access. From 3 minutes on markets and money to each day's radio shows like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel for The Real Investment Show, or just click on the show links at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
I got 3 words for the chat today. Larry, Larry, Larry. So TS says, if you're filling in your zeros, does that boost only if you're over 67 when you claim it? And the answer is no.
Correct.
So I have a client that's much younger than that got divorced about 7 years ago and had lots of zeros that are populated, and they exponentially have helped her earning history and her benefit.
Absolutely.
So it's never too late. It's never going to be maybe the max, but we went from something like $800 to close to $2,000, like $1,700. It's pretty good.
Meaningful difference.
Meaningful difference, and she's still filling in those zeros today. So the problem is, though, you have situations where usually females that have stayed home, or now they have a life-changing event like a divorce, that are lower earning spouses. I even had to explain to someone the other day that you could possibly even collect spousal benefits on your divorce partner.
Correct.
There are a lot of women who do not know those rules.
And if you're very savvy, you end up getting divorced and find yourself in another relationship, maybe holding off on that marriage to get the benefit of your ex-spouse's Social Security record rather than what would be your new spouse. Not that I'm recommending that strategy.
That was a topic. I remember when I was a kid, All in the Family, there was this older couple shacking up, and Archie was really upset. Edith was like, "Oh my, you're not, like when she finally realized, and it was because of, hey, I had a good Edith impression, didn't I? Come on.
Top notch.
Like when she used to she would it would take her, you could see her brain was in Jean Stapleton was a genius. I mean, she was so amazing on that show. She'd be like, when she would finally figure out you're doing something naughty. Right, Brent?
She was kind of a looker when she was younger, too.
Jean Stapleton. Yeah, they really uglied her up.
Yeah.
for that.
Very attractive woman when
You
she
guys
was
are
young.
before my time on that one.
You should be watching reruns, man. It's funny. It's still funny. See, Jesus Christ, that was such a good Edith. See? Yeah, thank you, Jamie. Oh, yeah. That could also morph into Floyd. Ooh, if I keep it up.
Well, was Edith Floyd in drag?
Yeah, you know, sort of.
Possible.
I do
saying.
think Edith was smarter. I have to admit, Floyd was really... I wouldn't trust him to cut my dog's hair. Ooh, Andy, what are you going to...
True story.
Oh,
Floyd had a stroke during the show.
really?
And they kept him on afterwards when he came back. And you'll notice in those last episodes, you only see him from the waist up.
Oh,
They framed the shots to cover up the fact that he had a stroke.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't... Oh. I did not know
All right,
that.
Edith, stifle.
They don't make shows like that, man. They don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They just don't make You could not make a show like that today. You would offend everybody. And realize you are making fun of Archie in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. It's a commentary, right? Norman Lear was great at that. We're making it digestible for the whole planet. But today, I don't even know if Norman Lear would be able to.
It exposed our foibles as humans. Archie did.
Yeah, right. That's pretty much what he did.
That's what good TV does.
But now, well, I don't know. Maybe now you could redo it. They get a knock on the door. Archie, can you get the door? I can't. And it's Trump. That would be. Maybe when do you remember Sammy Davis Jr. on the show? Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And how he just made a fool out of him. It was really great. Really great. I'm sorry, we're lost.
That's all right. Reminisce, guys.
We're lost in the show. But the point is, even then, you thought Social Security first, made your decisions based on whether or not you were going to get, to your point, John, it's your fault. Getting married again, you got to really consider the new spouse's benefit, right?
That's right.
Versus what
you would have otherwise.
What you would have otherwise, right? So you have to remember that. So when you have this situation where you have to integrate benefits, this is where emotion has to come out of the equation.
Correct.
Right? There is longevity risk. Although, like I always say on the show, and I said at the summit, it's amazing how many times people tell me they know when they're going to die. They have it down to, oh, no. No. You have no idea. The issue is, what if you live? But more important is, what if your spouse lives?
Right.
So whatever decision I make as a higher earning spouse is going to affect either the spousal or, most important, the survivor benefit of my younger spouse who did not pay in.
Correct.
And you have to consider that. And when you run those numbers based on joint life expectancy, it paints a different picture, doesn't it?
Starkly different, yes. Especially if there's a significant age gap between you and your spouse.
And you bring up a really good point, because I do talk to a lot of people who say, they're my age, and they're having kids again. They have younger spouses, and they're having children.
The Al Pacino approach. Yep.
Right, the Al Pacino and the Robert De Niro, right?
Yep.
Right? I don't know how Robert De Niro is going to raise his kid from Canada, because wasn't he supposed to move?
Yeah.
He hasn't moved yet. So the point, to your point, is you wouldn't be planning for Al Pacino.
Right.
We don't care about your benefit, Al. Right? Sorry. We care about your wife and your kids on the survivor side, because not only is your wife going to get benefits, but your children
until they're 18.
Until they're 18. Yeah. Are going to get benefits. So we are planning in a different cycle sometimes. Man, if we were working in Hollywood, that's all we would be planning. Oh, he's 80. He just married a 25-year-old. They're going to have 7 kids. Oh, my gosh. Right? So, how did that happen, Archie? He can't even get... No, forget it. So... If you have, again, you've got to look at when to trigger spousal. Now, remember, years ago, we had file and suspend, which was very cool.
Yes.
So the high earning spouse say was 67 years old, 66 years old, whatever, 66 in 2 months, and say, I'm going to claim my Social Security. Bam, turn it on. All that did was turn on my spousal benefit. Now I shut mine off and wait till 70. Beautiful thing, until Obama stopped it. How dare you? So I'm killing Jamie with my impression. Jamie's dying. Laugh my ass off. Oh, how does that happen? So you have to make sure, again, when you start running analysis and take the emotion out, the ability to coordinate those benefits is important. Now, I will say there are some times when, say, for example, you have a spouse who has paid in, that maybe you can trigger that younger spouse's benefit even as early as age 62, as much as we wouldn't do that. Collect that person's benefit up until spousal benefit.
Yep.
Right?
Well, then they just get a step up once you begin claiming your benefits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are ways to coordinate this. And again, I'll have some people that will look not to coordinate it. And that's because they feel like it's going away. And frankly, I never really understood the commentary, well, if I take it, the government won't take it away. And my question always is, I don't see that written anywhere. Why do you think that? Okay, most likely, intuitively, makes sense. But the government's going to do anything that's not in your benefit.
Correct.
So why can't the government tell you, even though you're taking it, we're in such dire straits that we are going to cut your benefit?
Right. Well,
Like
even
what makes you guaranteed? Just the fact that there's nothing in anything that I read that says that we're not going to cut benefits for the people who are getting the benefit.
Well, not to startle people, but the same thing would be true of Roth IRAs. You know, right now they're tax-free because that's the law. But if we get in a situation where the government's starving for revenue and we have things like Social Security that's imploding, they're going to start looking for where they can get more revenue.
And I would think they would get it more from traditional.
I would hope so, but
right, because that's the fatted calf. But to your point,
it's still possible.
You're in partnership with the government, and they're not good partners. So they're going to do that. So the point is, plan for what you can without looking at the emotional, political side of things, and you'll just do much better whatever you do, even with investing. I cannot tell you how many times, Obama's president, I can't put money in the market. Trump's president, oh my gosh, no way. I mean, you cannot do it this way.
Yeah. Well, it's also important to start early. You know, we talk about this a lot with clients, Rich.
Yeah. What are your two rights? What's in the DNA of what you want to help your kids with, right?
Right. Yeah. And so think about, when you start saving for retirement. If you're somebody who starts at 25, investing $200 a month, until you're 65, versus if you start at 45 with that $200 a month until you're 65, assuming a simple 6% return, you're looking at a difference of about $300,000. I mean, that's meaningful assets.
Paying yourself first, to me, is one of the best rules you have. And then putting those savings on autopilot is the spark of financial life.
Yeah.
If you get that down, you will be successful, because that means you have the ability to delay gratification. You won't miss the money. And it's very important. Two very important things. Pay yourself first, link it up automatically so you don't see it. That's it. That's all we got. We'll see you Monday. Hope you have a great weekend, everyone. Oh, weekend. Oh. That's for you, Jamie. See you.